Hi, this is Paula, and this is Whoever Holds the Stone. And this is the second show in 1 week because I need to catch up. Richard was kind enough to let us do this early in the day, and I appreciate that. And I'm here with Richard and Greg and my son Tom on drums. And have I got some stuff for you today? Greg read this over, didn't like any of it. Didn't want to understand it. Thought it was too esoteric. So I'm going to try to read it and explain it at the same time, because maybe it is. I don't know. All right, I'm not reading. I am so excited about this podcast guy. I don't know. It's a guy. It might be a woman. He uses an AI voice, but it's all written because he or she rails against AI created content. So I am pretty sure it's an actual human being.
You remember the name of the YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it right now because
somebody might want to investigate it.
It's amazing. It's really good, and I tried to contact this guy several times. Every time I put a comment down, it's gone the next day. So I don't know if he's got an automatic thing. It's the contemplative mind.
Okay.
And you can't really search it by that, though. It's weird. He must have renamed it a couple times, but it's the contemplative mind, and he does a lot of philosophers and some religious figures and some authors like Dostoevsky, and he does these really long YouTube videos, also AI created, about them. And what I like about him is how he synthesizes material. So he's talking about one philosopher, or like, for instance, part of this Kierkegaard YouTube video, he talks about how Kierkegaard was trying to disprove Hegel. He didn't like Hegel. Mm-hmm. So, he gives you that information, and he goes into detail. That's why they're so long. And he always starts it off with, this might go a little long. Everyone starts the same. And they're long. They're like an hour and a half. So you've got to really want that much information. I know a lot of people don't have that mindset where they want chunks of information now. It's more of a soundbite culture that we live in. But he's amazing. He, she, it is amazing. And I didn't know anything about Kierkegaard, even though I did take 2 philosophy courses in college. I don't remember anything about Kierkegaard, and maybe I tried to read him and he was too dense. But there were a couple things that he talked about, and one of the things, I think I'll start with that one, the nature of the individual and leveling, okay? So Kierkegaard talks about how there's the big mind, right? What everyone thinks, and everyone thinks that because it's created somehow by an aggregate.
You're talking about Hegel?
No, Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard thinks that.
Kierkegaard. So he's saying that it was the press that initially set this up. He said there were villages and things that had their own understanding and opinions. They all had the same opinion, but that was it wasn't small. But with a newspaper, those ideas could be spread out farther. So he's saying that it's so easy. It's you're spoon-fed what you believe. The press says this is what's going on, and the average person only reads the headlines, and they read the headlines, and they get a little bit of information, and this is where a little information is a dangerous thing, and they just take on these beliefs without questioning anything. And he's saying that this is where the average human being is. They're in that aggregate. But once you start looking at things as an individual and taking it apart, looking for opposite opinions, putting those things together, we were just talking about how not a lot of people can do that. You become the weirdo on the bus. And even if your ideas elevate the conversation, you will not bring the level of understanding of the crowd up to that level. They'll just mock you until you are, you either just forget about them. I mean, he's saying it's a lonely place to be because very few people, and I've said this a lot, very few people are capable of deep thinking and do think for themselves. Now it seems like we have two factions. We've got one group of people that thinks like this on the left, and one group of people that thinks like this on the right. And those people right now are at war because they both think the other group is stupid. And, it's the rare person who goes in the middle and tries to figure out what they believe for themselves. So he says the crowd is untruth. If you're surrendering your individual judgment to the collective, you cease to be a self, but you're a function of the mass. This is the default condition of modern life, which is leveling, which is a gradual distinction, is worn away by a leaderless process. People who are not in the collective become by their very nature a rebuke to the collective and therefore dangerous, an outcast. The crowd's response is not to rise to meet the new standard, but to dissolve it, defining excellence as arrogance and commitment as fanaticism. So the leveling does not attack greatness with a frontal attack. It attempts to dissolve it with a steady pressure from all around. And so any difference of opinion with the collective is made to seem embarrassing. And if you're not strong enough in your belief system, you can be sucked into that. What was it, in 1984? What did they call it? We talked about
group
this.
Think.
Group
No, this is 1984. But
groupthink. There was some.
You were saying groupthink.
Groupthink. So that's what you're supposed to think, and if you don't think that, you're obviously not thinking right. So I love this idea. This is and he said, like I said, the press initially created the public, and it says the path of the individual is genuinely harder. Most people, if given the choice clearly, okay, this I thought this was kind of comical. If you give most people the choice, and you present it to them clearly, and you tell them you're going to be an outsider if you think for yourself, they're going to pick groupthink because they don't want to be outside. It's like when you're a kid and you're subject to peer pressure. It's all peer pressure. So, but generally the choice isn't made like that. It's made by default in small increments. You're just kind of subsumed into this groupthink. And so the single individual has done the slow, often uncomfortable work of examining what they believe. They will find themselves in the minority because genuine thought is rare. Majority opinion is formed by the path of least resistance, the easiest to believe rather than the truest. So this is one of the tenets that I'm finding. And this is, like I said, these 2 pages of notes are just from the first half hour of this hour and a half screed. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but there's a lot of information there. So, you and I started talking a little bit about Hegel before that. I mean, it's something I think that we knew, we know this, but to have somebody put it into words and to have somebody he was from the beginning of the 1900s, right? I mean, when Kierkegaard, it was 1920s or something?
Let me double check that.
Yeah. Because that was going on during World War I, too.
Okay, born in 1813,
Oh, so he's older than that.
died in 1855.
All right. So I
So
mean,
he was a contemporary of Hegel then.
right. Yes. And well, Hegel believed that there was like there was one way of being, and you have to you fit in. Well, I'm probably saying it wrong because I didn't take notes on it.
Right, I think you have a basic understanding. Hegel believed the world is governed by ideas.
Okay.
And
But there were, yes.
and what you said, what the whole village believes,
Yes.
that would be an example
Yes.
of how when you're born, the first thing you do is you find out what everybody else thinks.
Right.
And then you want to adopt that.
Yeah. And that's what he was arguing against.
He was saying
Yeah.
that's fine for phase 1, but phase 2 is when you become an individual.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So what did Kierkegaard put on his tombstone?
I don't know.
He said, I only want 2 words, my name, birth, death, and 2 words, the individual. So guess what happened? His family was so controlling, even while he lived, his family was so controlling. We're not putting the individual on no tombstone. We're going to put his most famous quotes. So they got this gigantic tombstone with about 8 of his quotes, and the words, the individual, is not even mentioned.
Yeah. This was a real important precept of his work. This idea that, to struggle to what did he say? There's one line in the what should I do with the one life I have actually been given? That's the big question. What should I do with that one life? Not what does everybody else want me to do with that one life, but what should I do with it? And I had said that the biggest favor that my first counselor gave to me was one of the first things he asked me, because I told him what everybody else wanted me to do. I was married to Ray at the time, and I had Renee, and everybody wanted me to do this and do that. And he listened very patiently, and then when I finished, he looked at me and he said, but what do you want? And at that time, I did not even know that was an option. I didn't know it was an option, what I wanted. And so that was a big gift that man gave me. It's just that idea that I did get a choice, So anyway, that was my first part of this 2-page thing, but
So you think it's bad if you don't have your own individual theories on life?
No, I don't think it's bad, but I think it can be lazy. Don't you think it's lazy if you just adopt everybody else's way of thinking?
Yeah, it's lazy. You should. It's better if you I think it's better if you come up with your own stuff.
Yeah.
Your own feelings.
And the other part of the thing is it's the fear, the anxiety that comes with knowing that you're free.
Well, I mean, do you think it's better to have a lot of choices, or is it better to have it simplified for you?
If somebody's taking away my choices, I want to know. I feel the same way about literature that's been edited. What did you take away that you don't think it's important for me to know? Sometimes life is simple. Do you want a salad or do you want, a
French
sandwich?
fries.
I mean, that's a simple thing. I don't need to have all the choices when I'm going to eat something. But in life, did you, when you were a young man, were you aware of all the choices that there were for what you would do with your life?
No.
No, because we came from a background of people who had limited education and ideas. We weren't born into a family of doctors and lawyers and archaeologists.
Oh my.
Oh my, yes. So I didn't know. I didn't know there was such a thing as a woman archaeologist. I didn't even know there was an archaeologist. I knew that they dug up stuff out of the ground, but I didn't know why. You know. So just having, I mean, we're limited as humans. We're limited to what we start with. You know, you can change through time, but wouldn't it be nice to have known a lot of that stuff back then? Would you have made different decisions?
Oh, sure, because you'd have different options.
Right, options. Options are so important, and I try to say that to my grandchildren. You know, you don't have to limit yourself to the things you think girls do.
Mm.
You know, they look at me kind of funny, you know, because they still believe that the expectations that have been placed upon them are mandates.
Man.
Yeah, they believe that they have to get married and have children. They believe that. And I don't want to shock them too early, but I like to tell them about people I know that have made different choices.
It's nice to go your own way and do your own zany thing.
We're kind of, I don't know if it's lied to. Do you think it's fair to say that we're, as a blue collar people, we're kind of lied to about what we can and can't do?
Well, lie is intentional.
Yeah, I think it's kind of intentional.
You think it's intentional?
By the people who don't want us to be able to do anything else. I mean, we are a commodity. You know, we work for them. We make them rich. Why would they want us to do anything else?
Those bastards.
That's what I used to say about why men were not all that hot on women becoming liberated. I mean, I'd have to pick up my own clothes from the laundry. You know, you wouldn't have dinner ready for me when I got home. If I was a man, I'd probably fight against it too. You're doing all these things for me. Why would I give that up? You know, and it's the same thing with rich people. You're doing all these things for me, and at a cheap price. Why would I give that up? Yeah. Well, what do you have on your list today, Richard?
The Rhine River is getting lower and lower.
That's in Germany?
And they're seeing things they've never seen before,
Oh, they have.
including the bones of a woolly mammoth.
Oh, that's cool.
How exciting do you think that is for archaeologists?
Well, yeah, paleontologists.
Paleontologists?
Yeah, unless it's got an arrowhead in it, the archaeologists don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with humans.
They found this tablet, and it was made of stone and had words carved on it.
Archaeologists, yeah.
And written in the older version of German, which obviously they can now translate.
Yeah.
And it said, if the river ever reaches this depth, that is a sign that a drought is coming. You must move to a different location.
Are you kidding me?
How's
Somebody
that for a
left
prophecy?
a note in like a note in a bottle, but it was carved into.
It had to do with, it's like a public service.
Yeah.
It was like a public service.
It was like marking an arrow into a tree to let you know which way the town is or something.
Yeah.
Only, who the hell thought that far ahead that they wanted to warn somebody?
They probably learned the hard way, because the river did get that low, and then the crops failed for lack of water. So they said, we better let other people know. This is a sign that a drought is coming.
That is amazing. That's really amazing. The woolly mammoth is pretty amazing too, but
A Viking ship? Would that be archaeology?
yeah, anything to do with people.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and if a bone has been if an animal bone has been chewed on, they care about that too. Even though it's an animal bone, it showed contact with people. I didn't know that when I started.
Canadian news. None of the American news channels carried that story, but the Canadian news did.
That is amazing. So there's probably besides the Viking ship, there's probably other vessels that were underneath there.
World War II stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was scuttled. Yeah.
What are they? I mean, are they going to be able to sustain? I mean, without the water from the Rhine, are they going to be able to?
I don't know what they've come up with for alternative sources of water.
Yeah, well, they can desalinate now and stuff, but
True.
we don't know if that's an option. I wonder what all those cruise ships that travel up and down the Rhine are going to do.
Tourism. Yeah.
They're going to have to get mud vessels of some kind.
Oh, speaking of tourism, if you go to Liverpool, you can go on a tour bus called the Magical Mystery Tour. And they say, oh, this is where Paul was born. This is where John was born. You know what I mean? So they're driving, and Paul McCartney happens to be in Liverpool.
Uh-huh.
So he's got his driver in the front. He's sitting in the back, and they pull up next to the bus. So Paul rolls down the window, and he looks at the people, and he says, look at my phone. I happen to be talking to Ringo.
Now that's a tour. That's the tour I thought we should go on. I thought that would be fun for you, Mr. Beatle fanatic.
Yeah, it does. It would be fun for me. That's a little bit of a far trip, though.
It is a far trip. You're correct about that.
I find it hard to come to Cheektowaga.
I know you've been having limitations there, but maybe someday. Don't never say never.
Never.
Never say never.
I just said never.
Oh. Yeah, I went to England, but I was only in London. I thought I had this big idea that I was going to drive, because you can drive for a certain amount of time in a foreign country with a license, an international license. But Kenny talked me out of it because Kenny was afraid, and I didn't.
What did he fear?
Well, you drive
Accidents.
on the other side of the street, and so the chances.
Oh, your mind would forget.
Right, and he was he was the worst driver I've ever met, and that's why I got used to driving. I mean, we didn't have a car in New York, but he was really the worst driver I've ever met, and so his idea that I would kill us, and then. So it was really limiting because we ended up staying in London, which was fine because we did see a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I thought it would be fun to go with Greg and go to Liverpool and then go to Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Would you go to Stonehenge just to see the rocks, or would you want to go and see what Druid ceremony?
I would just. That's one thing. You're not a traveler, okay? And I just saw this this little thing. It was like painted on a piece of wood. It said, "I live for the experiences that I have no words for."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you go someplace and you're standing in the air where it is, like the Grand Canyon or Stonehenge. There's a way things feel that's different, And I'm not saying spiritual. I'm not saying I'd feel the ghosts around me. I'm not saying anything like that. Everything just feels different. Every place you go, there's a different smell, sound. I mean, all your senses get involved at the same time. And I just want to see what it feels like there. I'm going to see if I can feel anything different. Hi, Lori. Hi, honey. Where have you been? You owe me a croissant. Damn you. I can't even remember. We bet a croissant on something, and I won.
What's a good beverage to have with a croissant?
Well, you know I'm a coffee drinker, Richard. You're not going to talk me out of it, but thank you anyway for caring about my health.
Just curious.
No, coffee and a croissant. Yes, very, very nice. They have, it's called Butter Block, which tells you how healthful it is. And it's a little bakery on the west side where they make pastries the same way they do in Paris. The women learned in Paris, in France. And it's a different technique than most people use.
And it shows in the food?
Absolutely. It's fabulous.
So you,
I mean, there's limited things.
You made a bet with Lori and you won the bet?
And I'm supposed to get a croissant out of the deal and coffee, yes.
Does the bakery serve coffee too?
Yes. Yes. Lori, thank you for bringing up coffee again. But so there's a something, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen to everybody, I don't know, but it happens to me. All of your senses are engaged and it's engaged in different air. I know it's all the same air, it's the same world, we're not getting different air, but there's something different about being different places.
So you would go when they don't do the Druid ceremony?
I would just like to be, whether or not they were doing it, I would just like to be there. I think it would be interesting to see that. There's still Druids. I mean, people still practice this religion, right?
There's a debate going on about Stonehenge.
Okay.
It's a highway nearby,
Uh-huh.
and it gets used a lot. So when you go to Stonehenge, you can hear the cars.
Uh-huh.
So somebody in the British government said, got an idea. Let's spend the money and go underground. So it'll go back to the quietness
Oh.
when you go to Stonehenge. And what do you think happened when they proposed that in the referendum?
They were worried about what they might disturb under the ground.
Exactly. They were the archaeologists who said that'd be the worst thing you could possibly do.
So
So you had the Druids saying it'd be nice to have peace, silence. Then you have the archaeologists saying we don't want the past disturbed.
they would have to, well, here.
They'd have to do it with spoons. You know what I mean?
In the United States, if they're going to dig up some new ground, they have to call in contract archaeologists to make sure there's
Yeah, which
make
is
sure there's nothing there
yeah. That's
that they're disturbing.
Yeah.
That's what.
Carl Thiel used to work at that place.
Oh, and so did what's his name? Who's the one that did the bands at Mohawk?
Marty.
Borden.
Marty Borden worked there, and that was one of my professors that ran that place. He's the one that said to me, in a big hall of people, with the tears going up, he looked right at me and said, "Why are you staring at me?" And I said, well,
Guilty conscience.
I said, you're the teacher, and you're talking about something I'm doing my paper on, so I'm really interested. Yeah. Why are you I couldn't believe it. Why are you staring at me? Aren't you used to being stared at? How ridiculous.
Oh, you could have said a lot of cutting things to that comment. I'm sure John Oliver would think of quite a few.
You have something hanging out of your nose. So okay. So the thing about was that a complete thought then, the Rhine thing, or did you have?
I thought of you when I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought, ooh, this would be an exciting time for Paula. She'd go down there and scope out the people digging up the woolly mammoth and look at that stone.
I don't know what it is about the ancient past that I'm so. Because you're funny. Yeah, that's a good one, Mick. I should have said that. I don't know what it is about the ancient past that I find so fascinating. I think they thought so much differently than we did, that they're so mysterious and they did. They thought way differently than we did. You know, there was war season. Every spring they'd go to war. You know, and they would just take each other's stuff, all through the Bible. That's all they talk about, is taking each other's stuff. It's I'm fascinated by the unknown, I guess. Did you have more on your list?
Oh, sure. What's your interpretation of this particular photograph? Let me call it up here for Mr. Windsor. I found this fascinating. And then we got to go here to full screen. Okay, could you show VIN 9, Mr. Windsor? Look at this.
Are you sure it's not AI?
I sent it to Joel Lessees, you know, and it unnerved him.
I'm sure it did. He's got definite ideas about what those monks should be doing.
So I said, well, here's my interpretation.
Okay.
I would love to know who amongst those two monks looking at their phones is the one who is doom scrolling, namely like looking at cat videos to pass the time, and who is studying the Heart Sutra, which is one of their main texts.
Right. You could also be monitoring your pulse and so forth with a smartphone.
That's right.
But neither one looks like they're meditating. They just look like, okay, so when you're a doctor or a lawyer or an office worker, you take a break. So when you're a monk, you get to take a break. You know, I'm taking my monk break now.
So the picture sort of reminds me, there are ways to use phones that benefit your life.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them could be meditating on the suffering in the world by looking at the news. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's ways that phones can diminish your life.
They both look like they're just fucking around, though, don't they, Richard? Look at both of them. One's smirking on the right there.
Yeah.
And the one on the left is just like slouched over, got his phone in the phone position. I don't know. I don't think either one of them's taking advantage of the technology for higher purposes.
Mm.
It's why I think maybe it's AI. I don't know. I'd like to think like Joel.
Well, that would be unlikely.
Yeah.
That it's AI. And I'll tell you why. It's from the International Photographers Street competition.
Oh, okay.
So if you did that and you'd be banned from the organization because somebody would spot it.
I would have taken that picture, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely.
I definitely would have taken that picture.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of the runners-up.
Oh, who won?
I would just explain the photo to you, and it wouldn't make any sense.
Okay. All right. Yeah, lately.
But a lot of people are fascinated by timing photos. So, for example,
You caught the right moment, you mean?
within seconds,
Yeah.
right? So, in other words, if you're on a skateboard and you decide to jump up in the air and spin around,
Uh-huh.
you take a picture of just the skateboard, but in the shadow, there's somebody flipping in the air.
Oh.
So it's almost like the shadow was on the skateboard.
Yeah.
So
It is the exact moment. And you know,
Yeah.
but people have those cameras that have they can take 100 photos
They can.
in a row.
That's right.
So, you know, and the one quote I remember about photography is, "You think I'm a great photographer because you've never seen my bad work." You know. You know.
or a guy is walking through a puppet store,
Mhm.
and it's the exact moment type of thing. He is walking past the puppets that are hanging, because you can buy,
Yeah.
and he's walking past the Pinocchio puppet at the exact moment that the face of Pinocchio merges with his face.
Ah, so the bystander is walking. Yeah.
The shopper.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wait for those. Those are ones you can see in your head before they happen.
Maybe.
Yeah. You know, and you see all these vacation photos where somebody's holding up their hand and they're holding up the top of a building or something like that.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
And everybody does one for the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Everybody.
Yeah.
No, move a little closer. Okay, right there.
I would like to take one from the other way. I'm pushing it down. There's, I know, I see those photographs online all the time. People are always making little jokes with their photos, which is fun. What are you reading these days?
I'm reading a lot of Chuck Klosterman.
Oh, the one that says 4, but it looks like IV.
Well, that's Roman numeral.
I know, but I'm saying that's kind of a play on words, almost like intravenous words. That's what I thought of when I saw that on the porch.
Yeah, he interests me. He talks about pop culture, so I like in a smart way.
Yeah.
It's weird for me to be to go through this physical stuff where I fluctuate,
I know.
and it's like I was like last night I was really revved up.
Yeah.
Richard, you'll find this hard to believe, but last night I was actually revved up.
Well, is it observable when you're revved up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's observable.
Okay.
I like the Greg Sterlace show, and I was pretty much yelling at Paula that we've had an interesting life and hope we make it till the morning. And
That's right. He said if we make it till the morning, we can continue our interesting life.
and then I come here, and I'm just because of Parkinson's, I fluctuate in terms of energy, and it's just like it's being sucked out of me.
But don't you also think it's because our topics are not particularly interesting to you?
No, it's because of my disease. I have the energy sucked out at different points in the day. Like earlier today, I wasn't feeling that way, and last night I wasn't feeling that way, as you know.
Yeah.
So, what makes my mind fire on all cylinders?
Yeah, comedy doesn't. When you watch something funny, doesn't that bring up your energy level?
It used to, and now it just happens. It doesn't have to be comedy.
Yeah. Mick, it might have something to do with the drug in his system for the dopamine, that it like fluctuates, it wears off, and then he's got to take another dose, and it could be medication related, but it happens all during the course of your 4-hour medication thing.
Yeah, but I was so dynamite last night, and you wouldn't know it right now.
You wouldn't shut up.
I wouldn't shut up. I was energetic. I was like a real human being.
Yeah, you were
It's
energized.
like
The fire came back.
Yeah.
the fire comes back. It's hard to believe right now because of the way I'm trying to dredge it up, and I can't even dredge it up. It's weird.
Well, you don't have to. It's not required.
No, but it's painful. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
It's
Emotionally painful, yes.
and physically painful, both.
Okay.
So it's both painfuls.
Both painfuls. That's not good when you have both painfuls going on at the same time.
I'm trying to. It's like while you two are having this interesting discussion, I'm sitting here thinking,
But is it interesting to you? Because I know that you don't have the same interests that I do.
I have the exact same interest as you.
Really? When did this happen?
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
No,
There-
I just thought I'd
Yeah.
comment on that because I don't know. I just feel like I should bring it up how I'm feeling.
Yeah. I mean, your condition is. First of all, it's interesting to you because it's happening to you, and it's interesting to me because I'm observing it. And Richard doesn't really see you as much as I do. So, I mean, you're going
But
through
it's weird.
something that it's inside of your body. We can't access what you're feeling. That's human. We're a bag of meat, isolated meat.
Yeah, there's a certain privacy of experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nicer way of saying it than a bag of meat, but yeah, you're doing fine.
I feel like a zombie. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah,
I thought I'd comment. Am I supposed to comment on what's
yeah,
happening?
yeah. Sometimes you are.
Or is that off the track of what his list or your list?
No, it's what's on your list, right? You don't have a list, but it's. I thought I'd ask you what you were reading, and then you brought this up. This is fine. You don't mind going off into a personal. We do that sometimes. Somebody has something going on in their life. I wish you.
Well,
I wish you didn't have this happening, but it's you kind of got to ride it out for when you come back up, like you were last night.
It's amazing. It's like 180 degrees different from last night.
Yeah.
I was totally lively, Richard, and not a zombie like I am right now.
Going back and forth, out of the room, into the room, out of the room, into the room.
What were you doing when he was like?
She was laying in bed.
I had my copy of the
Dante.
Divine Comedy on my lap and not really wanting to read it. So it was a good distraction,
So he would come in and say something.
Yeah, and then I'd go back to the same sentence I was just reading.
And then later he would come back and he would say another thing.
Yeah, he didn't really leave for that long enough for me to get one sentence or two sentences in. And then I would.
Well, I feel like we've all lived interesting lives. All four of us lived interesting lives. And now we're here at this moment. And I find this moment interesting too. It's just that some of the interesting stuff is negative and some of it's positive.
Yeah.
When I look back on it, on every second of my life, I think it's all positive. But when I'm in this moment right now, it's a mixed bag because I'm here and we're having a good time, but I'm I'm like a zombie.
Well, you're going through a slump right now.
And I'm so sick of being a zombie. That's why I was so happy last night when I wasn't a zombie.
I know.
It was like I was like a regular human being again. I used to be so dynamic, and now it's only occasionally. It's only once in a while.
Yeah,
It used to be much more normal for me to be dynamic, and now it's like I saw Tom coming down the driveway earlier. I'm like, "Hello, how are you?" It's sad. I mean,
yeah, right.
You're seeing this.
Mick's roller coaster, right? We've called it that ourselves.
I mean, I used to think I didn't have it together, but I had it together compared to this.
Everything's perspective, right?
These last 4 months have been the worst for me having it together ever.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. You're working. You're taking walks now. It seems like you're improving, but you still have these slumps. You're going to have to. I think they're always going to be there to some extent. They suck, but it's just like a fact.
But it helps me to talk about it.
Good.
I feel like it's something that's happening to me.
It is. And you don't really have any control over it, which is frustrating.
I wish I was different.
I don't want you to be different. I wish you weren't suffering so much.
Well, I'm better than last week when I was here.
Well, you're talking more, certainly. You had your eyes closed the whole time, and then you got up because you couldn't do it anymore. But
Okay.
that was late. That's why I wanted to do it early, because now we've,
Good idea.
yeah. So this way, by the time we get home,
It doesn't really work that way though, because
I know it doesn't matter, but when you're tired, it's worse.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, no, you're good. Look at all the stuff you did this week. You went to a baseball game with
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. You went to
The
Beth's
Horn Feeder
house.
twice.
You went to work
Here twice.
here twice. I know, in 1 week. Here twice, and then you went to work twice. You did a lot this week. This was so much more than
What?
this was the most activity you've had in a week.
I'm tired of not being a full person though.
I don't know what to do about that.
Make me a full person, Paula.
Wait, give me the yarn. I'll try to knit one for you. I can't change it. I can't change what's happening.
How do you relate to Richard to me? Like when you see your friends deteriorating, how does that? What do you think?
I say to myself, it's a sign that everything in reality changes, and behooves me to accept that fact,
So you accept when your friends deteriorate.
as well as everything else I see around me changes, such as when I was working in the garden yesterday, because she knows a lot about plants.
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, I don't want them to grow here, but I want them to grow there. She said, well, we can carefully remove them, put them in water, wait till they grow roots, and go plant them there.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that.
Okay.
So I got down yesterday, and then immediately my body said, okay, if you're going to get back up, do it super slowly and lean on something.
Oh, definitely.
So that's an example of a change I'm going through, where my body's telling me,
You don't bounce up anymore.
you got a whole new ball game, and that is when you're sitting down on the ground and you're going to get up, you do it in stages, and you always lean on something, Like Sanford said, you're physically fit if you could sit cross-legged on the floor and then just get up without holding on to anything. I said I could never do that.
I could do that when I was younger, but I can't now. But the thing is, I always tell people, because a lot of women my age can't get on the floor to exercise anymore because they can't get up, especially if they had their knees replaced. And I tell them, I say, I can get on the floor. It's not pretty when I get up. But I can get on the floor. And I mean, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm still able to, I'm grateful that I can still take a bath, because so many of my friends can't. They can't get in the bathtub and out again.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because I was just reading this morning that if you have a life in which you accept the circumstances that you're in, you accept the changes taking place every day in your life, two things will happen. One, you will appreciate the moment you're in more.
He does that.
And two, you'll feel a sense of gratitude. And that's what's happening with me. I get that sense of gratitude, and I say to myself, oh, I'm in the present. What is happening around me right now?
Well, just the feeling of being alive. We don't think about that often because we've never had another experience except feeling alive.
Mm-hmm.
That I think to myself, this is great. I get to be alive. What were the chances that this would happen? That the right sperm would hit the right egg at the right time, and it would be me. I get to be.
Yeah, I got an email from our friend Tosca. And at the end of it, I said, more and more people are saying to me, you should have another summer bonfire.
Mm.
And I've been saying to them, I'd be okay with that. I said, if I had one, would you come?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wait and see what she says when she writes back. Because
Well-
the last bonfire, I used to say, will you help me plan it? Then you offered to do that.
Yeah, and I would certainly help you plan another one if you wanted to do it.
So now I'm saying, if I had one, would you come?
Yeah.
Then they make a commitment, see?
Aha. Yeah, well, people's commitment levels depending on sometimes they call the last minute and say somebody died.
Oh, sure.
Some-
Sure.
Yeah, you can't depend on that. But I mean, don't you feel that you've become more in tune to living in the moment and being grateful for the parts of your life you still have?
Yeah, I think that's having this disease has given me a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just tough when I'm all zombied out like this.
I know.
It's like you wouldn't know it, but I'm striving fiercely to be involved in the conversation.
I know.
And
One of these
I'm very-
days we're going to get the upswing you on the show. And Richard will see the difference. You know, you were in an upswing at the last bonfire. You weren't walking around, you were sitting and having conversations, but you were pretty
Yeah, then later on I was
animated.
having
well,
help me
you
in
were
the car.
exhausted. Yeah, that's
I got up and I was like, oh my God, I haven't used this much energy to socialize in
it is a lot of energy.
years.
I like Mick's comment about sorry your new parts are in back order. That was funny, Mick. Yeah, so I'm there was one thing that somebody mentioned that reminded me of getting used to the new you, right? That's what it says here about these stages, this aesthetic, not aesthetic, person to the ethical person to the religious person. It says moving from sphere to sphere includes the willingness to let go of the self you have built in one sphere in order to become the self that the next sphere demands. I love that. You know, it makes so much sense. And to go quickly over it, these spheres, they're not really stages, they're spheres. He says that the first one is, you know, you're selfish and all you want to do is have fun and enjoy things and try new things and just, you don't make any commitments or anything.
Right.
And then the ethical is when you start making commitments to life, to a job, to a relationship, to a way of being. And then the next one is religious, not necessarily God, but the bigger picture, like the worldview, like
Sure.
ecology and humanity, and doing things in a way that serves the bigger picture.
So when Pete Townshend wrote that song talking about my generation, he's got a line in there, I hope I die before I get old. Inevitably, interviewers say, what do you think when you hear that song? And he goes, it was a different me who wrote that.
And
he's in a different sphere.
yeah. Do you know, I tell people all the time, I said, you know, young people especially, because, you know, I tend to, it's like, you know, you think that when you get older, when a person gets older, they're a different person. They're really not. That you that's in your head is still the same you. It's just making better decisions. You know, you're not going to turn. I used to always think that old curmudgeon-y people, you turned into that at a certain age. Those were young curmudgeon-y people. Those were young crabby people that turned into old crabby people. And the same thing with joyful people. You know, you don't just become, you know, you develop that over time. But it's the same person inside. I never knew that when I was young. And when I started getting older, I thought, I thought I'd be a different person, and I'm not. And that's when you start working on it to, you know, for making yourself to a better person, you know.
Yeah, but I feel like I've gone backwards.
You haven't. You've gone definitely forward. Your perspective on life is remarkable, considering the Greg Sterlace I met when you were 30.
Oh. Guess I'm wrong then.
Well, you can.
Guess I went forward.
Yeah, you've come to a lot of conclusions and become a much more kinder, gentler, and you're even at the point you're regretting some of the things you've said and done. But like I read that one thing about if I could go back and do it again, I would have made a different decision, knowing what I know now. But you can't make a different decision when you're not at that point of mental and psychological development. You do the thing that you choose, the thing that seems the best or the most fun or whatever, and you end up making mistakes. But those are okay, unless you make them over and over again. Then you have to reevaluate. So we've got 4 minutes and 18 seconds left, Mr. Greg. And I'm going to pose it to Richard again. What else you want to talk about for this last 4 minutes?
I was reading about Queen Elizabeth and Sir Francis Drake. You know that story?
Kind of.
So in other words, the Spanish were the best sailors in the world. They were the first ones to figure out a way to get to the New World without going the long way, etc. And so they got wealthy, very wealthy.
Right.
They were so wealthy that when their ships carried treasure, they didn't even bother having an escort or even having any weapons on board, because they figured, who else can come out here? We're the only ships in the game.
Right.
Little did they know that there was this guy in England named Sir Francis Drake. Hey, what if I turned here? Hey, what if I put my sails this way? I wonder what's over there. And he found the route. And so he comes up alongside of one of these treasure ships, and he pulls up alongside of them, and they get on board, and he goes, I've never seen a Spanish ship like this. What kind of cargo are you carrying? They said, it would behoove you to get off the ship right away because this is protected by the King of Spain. And he goes, what is protected? And then he goes and looks for himself, and he sees 2 tons of gold.
Oh, yeah, they took a lot of gold from the Americans.
So he says to the captain of the ship, I got news for you. You see that little boat over there? We're going to put you in that boat, and the shore is about a mile that way. Get in it and go, because this ship is now under my command. So he brought the ship back to England, and then he asked if he could have he never met the Queen, but he asked that you ask her secretary, can I meet the Queen? What's it about? He tells the guy about, and the secretary said, you can meet with the Queen only unofficially. This is not going to go into the public record.
Because you're a pirate.
Because she doesn't meet with people of your rank. So it can't go into the public record. So he goes to the room where she is, and Queen Elizabeth tells them, okay, go outside, close the door. As soon as the door is closed, she goes, tell me about this treasure. He said, Your Majesty, it's 2 tons of gold. And she's going, ding, ding, ding. That would pay off the entire debt of England and have more for the future.
Wow.
And he said, and it all belongs to you. I'm not keeping a single penny of it. And she says, well, please. She says, don't be so generous. I'm going to give you 1/10 of it. Use it for yourself and for your men. And you know why I'm doing it? Because if you come across any other ships, I would like you to escort them back to me the way you did this one. Of course, as soon as that door opens up, we didn't talk about any of this.
No, because she was sanctioning piracy.
She was. So, so what happens then is the Spanish ambassador demands a meeting with her and says, your ship, our ship, was commandeered by one of your ships. What do you say about that? She goes, I don't know anything about this. How do you know it wasn't a regular pirate? I don't know anything about this. Interesting, huh? So I asked AI, did they ever make a movie about this? And AI said, sort of. In 1940, Errol Flynn made a movie called The Sea Hawk, where he was Sir Francis Drake.
Oh.
But they changed it. So now the Spanish king was the equivalent of Hitler.
Oh, God,
and he was,
they had to make it like that. That's Hollywood. And I think we have a few seconds here left. Okay, Richard, thank you. This was great. I'm going to look again and see what's next. Thanks, Greg. thank you, of course, my son, and have a great
Oh, the
rest of your
commenter.